Long drive today, so I'm going about 1,000 kilometers from where I am now in the south of Germany near Stuttgart, around into France, looping past Lyon and up towards Meribel, the French skiing town in the Alps. So I'm driving, of course, in the RaceChip Panamera, the 4S diesel, running also with the RaceChip. A car that should be pretty comfortable for this kind of length of drive. I've been using it for a couple of days now around Germany, but today is the big one. This is testing its full sort of GT characteristics, so I'm going to play around with the RaceChip, change the configuration. It's currently in the race mode, which means the power is up to the maximum. The standard car 422 PS, this car 505, standard car 850 Newton meters of torque, this car 1050. So it's not quite so standard, but it's a new Panamera, it's a 4S, it's all-wheel drive, we've got winter tyres, it's the perfect car basically for this purpose. It's economical, the range in the car says something like 900 kilometers until I have to fill it up, which is truly ridiculous, so I'm going to be forced to stop because I need it long before the car needs it, which is not what I'm that used to. But in general, the new Panamera is so much prettier than the previous generation. Just a couple of fixes and changes to the design that have made it that touch better. If I open the boot, and I have to be careful with this because otherwise it's going to hit the roof. It's a bit low in this garage. Right, let's stop it there. You can see that there's also a decent amount of luggage space back here. I've got a big case. I don't normally travel with a big case because of heading to the Alps, so it's got my ski gear in it, ski boots, although I did choose to leave my skis at home this time because I'm flying from location to location and picking up different cars. But decent amount of space back there. There's a 12-volt socket as well, so no problem transporting luggage, and this car is equipped very, very nicely. But it's kind of an interesting one because it does end up being about 150,000 euros, but then it is the sort of top spec for this kind of purpose. Yes, there's a V8 that goes, a petrol V8 that goes faster, but I think for my purpose right now, we're testing out the sort of long distance capabilities. We want a comfortable ride, we want it to be a gentle cruiser, and it's a very nice car to be doing it in. So what else can I just quickly tell you? We've got the OZ wheels, we've got KW springs, so it has the 3 suspension modes that, as standard through the car's settings. So I should actually jump in and show you how the app works again a little bit, just so we can set the different modes, because it's currently in race mode and we're going for efficiency here. We want to be driving the longest distance possible. So I've got the key here, which is a slightly new design. It's a bit flatter than the old keys, but the same kind of shape, roughly in the shape of a car. The difference this time though is it is a keyless system, which means, put the key anywhere there for now, that you have this sort of replacement key sat where normally you put the key in to turn it. I quite like that as an approach to the solution. A solution, sorry, to the problem, you could say. Now, I'm going to do another full piece talking about all the infotainment in here because there is just too much to go through. I think it's fascinating how many dials, screens, controls, options, menus, and how all of this works. So I want to show you all through it as soon as I can. What I want to do though is get on the road, and then later on today I'm going to show you the different modes, play around putting it into the sort of most normal setting, so basically reverting the mapping back to stock, then the sport mode, and then the race mode it's currently in, so I can experience the difference it makes with the RaceChip flicking between the different settings. So let me get on the road. Everything's basically set up nicely for me and ready to get driving. I've driven out of the garage and I'm actually going to play with the app right now. So it is currently on a phone that is in the armrest. It doesn't need to be plugged in. This is just plugged in for the sake of charging it up right now. So let's turn it on, open the phone, load the RaceChip app. So this is where we can change the Porsche Panamera's driving mode. So it'll connect over Bluetooth. There we go. We're currently in race mode. I want to put it into efficient mode. Is that now done? Oh, I just turned it off. That was silly of me. So we're done, we're on, we're now in efficient mode. So basically the car is now running as per a stock Panamera 4S diesel, which is quite an interesting concept. So let's see what this is like. I've not driven it in this mode yet. Let's experience what it's like driving in a normal Panamera 4S diesel then. I think pulling away while I'm currently in the completely normal mode, everything in the softest settings, obviously because we're kind of out for a cruise, it feels, well, pretty standard. I would say it already feels less sporty. Clearly the chip tuning makes it a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more driver focus. Cruising like this is not going to tell me very much though, but as we pull onto the autobahn here, or the main road, whatever type of road it is, and I put my foot down, it'll be interesting to feel what the difference in power is, or feel of the power, certainly through 200 Newton meters less, actually translates to when you're on the road. Okay, feels substantially less actually. That's kind of interesting. I didn't know how significant it would be. Okay, be interesting now to try the different modes and to directly compare this. And this is where this car is excelling brilliantly. So I've got adaptive cruise control on. I'm just chilling. All I can basically hear is wind noise and a little bit of road noise. And the theoretical range, so since I picked up the car, I've done about 100 kilometers. Let's assume they filled it up when I picked it up, maybe just before, 1 or 2 kilometers before, and I've got 874 to empty. So it's basically going to do 1,000 kilometers on a tank. Now, I don't know how big a tank is, but that's pretty ridiculous. With the setup like this then, I'm actually going to put the car into Sport Plus mode. So technically you have 9 overall configurations, because you have the 3 on the RaceChip that are independent from the 3 in the car. So you can have it crossing over however you'd like. I'm also going to go manual on the paddles, just because I want to sort of experience how the car is dynamically in its completely normal setup. So this is the original stock kind of mode. Okay. You can definitely feel it pulls away quite aggressively. Drives quite nicely too. I think that's one of the things that's surprising, because it's a 2-ton car, yet it still seems to handle quite dynamically on this kind of road. And then again, it's quiet and comfortable, but it's a diesel, so the noise is a little bit like naff, to be completely honest. What I want to try next is putting it into race on the chip and then seeing how that compares. So to do this quickly, into the armrest, phone out, app on, open the phone, unlock it, connecting, connected, race mode. There we go, done. Now the chip is running in the full driving mode. Armrest closed back down, I've got things everywhere, everything's still set up in Sport Plus, and off we go. It's literally that simple. So, revs through first. Okay, shifts are much more aggressive. That's an interesting sort of observation I've just made. So definitely having it in RaceChip's race mode, it gets a much more sort of sporty drive. I felt that, well, straight away. So slow down a notch, just to experience pulling away a little bit from second gear. There we go. Okay, yeah, yes, you can feel there's more, quite substantially more. That's, okay, immediately, well, it's 25% more torque, as well as a fair chunk more horsepower, about 20% more horsepower. So that was instantaneously, obviously more powerful, probably in a way that's taken me by surprise. The shifts are a little bit more aggressive, but there's a lot of pull. Fascinating to see how instantly noticeable and recognizable the difference is there. I mean, they're big numbers, it should be, but completely transforms the car. And I've done exactly the same thing in both cars, in both setups, sorry, on the same car. A couple of hours into the drive then, and I've just literally crossed the border into France, where it's raining, I'm in traffic, and I'm a little bit tired, to be honest, but I've got a long way to go. I've still got sort of 6 or 7 hours, I guess, to go. I'm taking a route basically around Switzerland, because driving through Switzerland is always a little bit funky. So I'm heading over towards Lyon and then down and into the French Alps that way, rather than going via Geneva. Just slightly more comfortable journey, even though it's a touch longer, because there's lots of potential issues with modified cars in Switzerland. Obviously we've got approval from OZ for the wheels, KW for the springs, RaceChip for the box, but it's better to just avoid the complications that might happen at the border. So I'm blasting down. I've set my nav, which is sort of continuously recalculating to take me through Switzerland, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to see what time it eventually gives me if I go direct to Meribel this way. Distressingly, it's basically just rain, 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 and more rain. I've been on the road for, what, 4 hours or so now? I've got about 4 or 5 more to go, and I'm hoping it's going to dry up. It looks like I might have a little break in front of me, but basically, especially in France, where we obviously are, the speed limit drops when it's raining. You can't drive as fast on the motorway as you can when it's dry. So it makes everything take a little bit longer, and you just want to keep on moving, because this is a really, really long drive.
Well, jump ahead another maybe hour and a half and it's no longer raining. In fact, the sky is quite blue in front of me, which is lovely. But I am going to have to fill up the car just before I get there. But the interesting thing is how capable the range is on this thing. So I haven't yet filled it up. I've been driving it aggressively. I've been to 250 kilometers an hour almost on the Autobahn. I've been just using it like a car, testing it. I've not been trying to mileage conserve. And if you add together the amount of miles I've done with the theoretical range to empty, it is about 830 kilometers, which, to be honest, is ridiculous. I have never in my life owned a car that can go that far. That is more in miles than most cars will do in kilometers. That's a strange comparison, but the sun is setting on me. I'm going to fill it up once. That will get me the final couple of hours into where I'm going, and then I'm all set. What just happened, that's one thing I'm going to talk about, I think. The assistance system, so two in particular. One, the lane guidance, where it sort of tugs at the steering wheel if you cross lanes, that kind of thing. And the other, I'm not quite sure exactly what you call it, but the safety distance in front of you when you're on adaptive cruise control. They are really intrusive, and the steering can mean you have to properly tug the wheel sometimes to get it to do anything, and the coming to a standstill just intervenes way too often when cars are really far away, even if you have the distance jog dial set to the bottom. Now, I mean, that's Porsche things, but I kind of feel like those are things that the truck must be. I haven't got to it yet, and it pulled me down. Haven't got to it. Haven't got to it. Haven't got to it. Are we going to go past it? And I'm going past the truck now. So that is how far in advance it kicked us and slowed us down, which is a little frustrating, to be honest. But otherwise, let's talk positive stuff. The sound system is brilliant. I can't play you the sound system because of copyright music and that kind of thing. The sort of general comfort and displays are all set up super easily to take in. It just sort of cruises along, and the fuel economy is just mega. So I'm going to keep blasting on. Maybe my next update will be when I've arrived. Probably even more exhausted by then than I am now, but it's going alright. I'm not sure a car of this size and style should be able to drive a road like this, but Porsche just do everything right. The driving dynamics in this thing, we're in Sport Plus race mode. I've been driving in a comfort, or not comfort, efficient it's called, on the RaceChip for most of the motorway. Swapped it into race just for this last stretch, going uphill into the ski resort, and the car just transforms. It's ready to pounce. It's got so much instant torque. You can feel the difference in the torque curve and how early the power comes in instead. And it's genuinely impressive to drive, and really quick up the hill. Good driving experience. And now we start to get some snow, so I don't think I'm going to be driving on snow today actually, but obviously the ground is pretty cold. It's showing 1 degree outside right now. First time I've used first gear here as we go up behind a car that's moving rather slowly. You don't really need first gear in this diesel engine. You just end up doing that, running straight into the rev limiter, because it gets up there so quickly. But I love going up into ski resorts, how twisty and tight it is everywhere. Well, it's been a very long drive, but I've made it. The car is parked up in a nice cozy garage, a little bit dirtier than it was when I set off this morning, and it's rather cozy and tight in here. Let's just say it was fun navigating the columns and pillars to get the car through. But hey, that was how it was going to be, and it's also now rather dirty. But that last bit of driving up the hill has really taken me by surprise. It was really quite fun. A diesel engine car, fun. That wasn't something I necessarily thought could happen, and I think it's been fascinating experimenting with the different modes on the RaceChip and seeing how much difference they make. Obviously, it's multiplied, the effect is multiplied by the fact that the car would adjust throttle response and engine response itself when you go from Comfort Sport to Sport Plus. But when you double that up by putting the RaceChip in the normal mode, efficient mode, Sport and Race, it changes it all again as well. So it's been really fun experimenting with that, seeing real world changes and results of it. But also the fuel economy in here has just fascinated me. It's currently showing a theoretical nearly 1,100 kilometers. I say currently, I mean before the drive up the hill, because obviously that has reduced it significantly because I was having fun, and the last bit just to get here has been a little bit slippy as well. But nonetheless, awesome drive,
Really enjoyed the new Panamera. And I'm going to come back to you again with a little bit more information about the interior and the infotainment systems as well. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the video and my journey today, traveling from Germany to Meribel in the French Alps. That's it for now though. I'll catch up with you again very soon. Cheers.